the wonderful thing about this philosophy, we live up by the rule of law. We want to defend, we want to defend liberty, and we can find our answers by just following these rules and getting back to these basics. Because truly, if we want prosperity, we want to have a sound monetary system. That's one responsibility the government has, and yet they totally ignore it. So wouldn't this be rather neat once again to have sound money? No Federal Reserve. And a proper tax system, which means that we would start by repealing the 16th Amendment. It's pretty darn positive, and even though I find myself talking a lot about our problems, I'm also fascinated with the idea that what brings us together is this freedom and hope. Because once we recognize there are problems, what are the answers? And there's no reason in the world why there can't be hope if we just do some of the basic things. And I think this is what's generating so many people. And I am also convinced, this campaign has convinced me more so than ever, that freedom brings people together, diverse people together, because we don't want to run their lives and we don't want to run the way they spend their money. And you know, it's this campaign is different. I tell people, absolutely, I'm not running to be president, to run your life. I don't know how to run your life, and I don't even want to run your life. I want to get out of your life. And I don't want to run the economy, because no one person, no bureaucrat, no politicians know how to run the economy. That means they want to run your finances. It's your money. You ought to get to keep it and spend it the way you want. And we certainly do not think that we should pretend that we know how to run the world. We could set a good example for others to follow, but we should never use force to believe that we can promote our values overseas. That's why we ought to just come on home.
African Americans for Ron Paul. One question for you. Set the record straight with African Americans community. What is the biggest misconception that they have of you?
I don't know what their misconceptions are, but I know what the biggest misconception is for so many people in the world is that we've gotten ourselves divided up into groups. Mm-hmm. And there is only one group that's important, that is the individual. And when the individual is important, everybody's rights are protected equally. So it's equal justice, not equality in the distribution of wealth. And that isn't it. We want equality. And one area, which is something that we can address to minorities, is what has happened in equal justice. That's where the discrepancy has been. Because if you live in the inner city, where you're not allowed to own a gun, you're subject to more crimes than ever before, and you're subject to drug laws, which are devastating to the minorities, because then I saw some statistics the other day, I think I cited them on TV, 14% of all the people who use illegal drugs in this country are minorities and blacks, so to speak. And yet 67% of the people in our prisons are minorities. So this is the injustice. You correct those injustices, but you don't ever punish any group, whether they're for sexual reasons, religious reasons, or for color reasons. You never punish anybody, but you never give special benefits. I mean, everybody should be treated equally. The biggest job the government has is to make sure you have equal justice before the law and nobody gets punished unfairly.
Which African American would you consider? Which African American would you consider having in your administration? I mean, someone that you're leaning toward, that you'd like as president. Who would you consider? Let him answer, please.
I'd have to give it some consideration and to discuss it with them to find out if they're with me on all these ideas. So
sure. Thank you so much.
But I would be colorblind, believe me.
Thank you so much.
Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. This has been fantastic. You give me a lot of credit and you give me a lot of things, but really there's no campaign without you. You give me the encouragement. And this is just really getting rolling now. We're investing the money that we've saved. The fundraising is doing better. Things are moving up, and you're going to see a lot more. there's still a lot of work to do, finding more people, finding more volunteers, and doing some basic work. I mean, this office is going to be open, and there's still a lot of legwork. You know exactly, and I'm not telling anybody something you don't know. I mean, this is individual campaigning up here, so it's the kind of thing that individuals can do, talking to your neighbors and friends, because the biggest obstacle is they may say, yeah, I like what he says, but you know, you can't achieve that. It's not going to work, and he can't win, that sort of thing. You have to convince them differently. And even though they might say it's theoretical and it's not going to happen, if we don't do something, the alternative is so much worse. I mean, we are going to destroy this country unless we are able to achieve victory here. That's right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.